Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American psychological horror film from 2025, titled Keeper. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. The movie opens with a montage of women from different decades, shown through the perspective of the same unseen individual. Each woman appears happy at first, but soon becomes upset and exhausted with this person. The montage ends with the women screaming, their faces and bodies covered in blood. In the present day, Malcolm, a doctor, takes his girlfriend Liz, a painter, on a weekend trip to a secluded cabin in the countryside to celebrate their one-year anniversary. On their way, Liz recalls calling her friend Maggie to talk about the cabin and about her relationship with Malcolm, sounding unenthusiastic. After they arrive at the cabin, Liz finds a boxed cake inside, which Malcolm says was left by the caretaker. While exploring, Liz notices another cabin nearby, and Malcolm tells her it belongs to his cousin, Darren, and assures her they will not be disturbed. When Malcolm steps out, Liz draws a heart on the window, and as she leaves the room, the drawing slowly fades. Later, while taking a bath, Liz has a sudden vision of the lake near the cabin and of someone drowning. Minutes later, an unseen force then draws the same heart on the bathroom window before it fades as well. That night, while the couple is having dinner and beginning to grow intimate, they are interrupted by a knock on the door. Malcolm answers it to find his obnoxious cousin Darren, along with his European model girlfriend, Minka, whom Darren claims does not speak English. It is shown that Darren is openly rude to Liz, making the couple uncomfortable. When the two women are briefly left alone, Minka suddenly speaks perfect English and remarks that the cake tastes awful. Moments later, the men return, and Darren and Minka head back to their cabin, and Liz remains unsettled by what Minka told her. Once they are alone again, Malcolm asks Liz if she is alright. She says yes, but does not mention what Minka told her. They talk about Darren, make fun of him, and soon begin to make love. However, Malcolm seems distracted and not fully in the mood, shifting the conversation back to the cake. When they unbox it, Liz discovers it is chocolate, which she dislikes. Even so, Malcolm urges her to try it, and she eventually eats some at his insistence, confirming that it really does taste awful. That night, Liz begins seeing strange visions of the women from the opening montage, along with an image of someone holding a rifle to the back of her head. She wakes abruptly and goes to the kitchen, unaware that a figure is standing behind her. In the kitchen, she feels strangely drawn toward the cake. Despite finding severed, bloody fingers inside it, she devours the entire thing and experiences more visions of the screaming women. The next morning, Minka is shown walking alone through the woods. She hears something in the distance, becomes frightened, and hides behind a tree. Suddenly, an unseen force pulls her upward and kills her. Back at the cabin, Malcolm wakes and notices Liz is gone from the bed. He finds her in the living room, drawing as if under some kind of influence. While making breakfast, Malcolm realizes Liz has eaten the cake all and asks if she is alright, and she insists she is fine. Malcolm then mentions that one of his patients, Mrs. Portnoy, is coming out of a medically induced coma today and that he is waiting for someone to update him on her condition. It becomes clear that Liz is drawing the same women from the beginning of the film, depicted screaming. Later, the couple goes out to explore the woods, and we see Liz standing near a lake. Through her recurring visions, Liz sees a locket belonging to a woman at the bottom of the lake and retrieves it. Back at the cabin, Malcolm tells her he has just received news that Mrs. Portnoy is not waking up and that he must return to the city to take care of her. He promises to be back that evening, and Liz tells him it is fine before he drives off. Left alone in the house, Liz begins staring at the locket and experiences another vision. Later, she speaks with Maggie while secretly watching Darren's cabin. After learning that Malcolm has gone back to the city, leaving Liz alone, Maggie suggests that Malcolm is probably married and cheating on her, which upsets Liz. After the call ends, Liz sees what appears to be a woman's body in the woods, but when she looks again, it is gone, leaving her unsettled. Later in the kitchen, she is startled by the sight of Minka and a younger version of Minka standing there. Minka tries to give her a cryptic warning about the children believing Liz is their mother, but the moment turns out to be a nightmare. Soon after, Darren arrives at Malcolm's cabin, and despite learning that Malcolm is not home, he insists on coming inside, ignoring Liz's hesitation. He seems oddly surprised to see her and tells her she is special, unlike the other women. Feeling uncomfortable, Liz excuses herself to the bathroom and locks herself, clearly unhappy with his presence. Meanwhile, Darren takes a meat cleaver from the kitchen and wanders around the house with it before being killed by unseen forces, and his body dragged away. When the cabin becomes unusually quiet, Liz assumes Darren has left and steps out of the bathroom. She leaves a voicemail for Malcolm, telling him Darren came by and asking him to return home soon. Just then, she hears the front door lock, and when she goes to check, she finds nothing. In the kitchen, she notices the drink Darren brought earlier and is startled when the sink grinder suddenly turns on. After switching it off, she reaches into the sink and is shocked to pull out Darren's wristwatch. When she turns around, Liz is horrified to see a strange woman with a plastic bag over her head, but it is only another vision. Growing increasingly disturbed by the strange events in the cabin, Liz calls Maggie, and during their conversation, a figure with an unnaturally long neck appears behind her. Liz asks Maggie to come get her, convinced something is wrong in the cabin, but the signal keeps cutting out. After the call ends, Liz turns around and the long-necked figure is gone. Soon after, Malcolm returns home, and Liz immediately begins expressing her fears, telling him she wants to leave. Malcolm manages to calm her and checks the cabin for a possible intruder but finds no one. He returns with a bottle of wine, apologizes for leaving her alone, and convinces her to share a drink. While they drink the wine, Liz asks Malcolm about Mrs. Portnoy, but Malcolm acts as though he doesn't know who she is. Trying to cover up his strange behavior, he tells Liz that Mrs. Portnoy died surrounded by her children. Growing suspicious, Liz excuses herself to the bathroom and locks the door. As she looks around, she finds what appears to be a photo of Malcolm's wife, one of the women shown at the beginning of the movie, and their daughters. Suddenly, Malcolm shows up and opens the bathroom door, since the lock doesn't really work. Furious, Liz shows him the picture and demands an explanation, accusing him of cheating, before insisting he take her home. Malcolm tells her he can't let her leave and brings her to the living room, where he sits her down and tells her the truth. 200 years ago, he and Darren were boys when they found a pregnant woman on their family's property who looked very much like Liz. When she saw them, she tried to run, but they shot her in the leg and dragged her back to their pig pen. That night, they returned and discovered she had given birth to the creatures Liz has been seeing. They shot the woman in the head, and ever since, have been bringing the creatures women to feed on. This has given the men extended life and youth, and it is revealed the screaming women Liz saw in her visions were their past victims. Malcolm admits the cake was supposed to drug her, just as Darren drugged Minka, but for some reason it didn't work on Liz. He tells her she is going to die in the house, then walks away, leaving her alone. Liz tries to escape but discovers all the doors are locked, and Malcolm explains that the creatures might be magically sealing them. She runs upstairs to grab her phone, but it won't turn on, and suddenly, a creature begins climbing the stairs, moving slowly toward her. A few drops of water land on her phone, but when she turns, she didn't seize anything. Liz manages to open a window, climb out, and tries to make her way toward the other side of the house. Just then, she spots the creatures on the roof, and startled, she slips and falls into the lake. Back at the cabin, Malcolm gathers Liz's belongings while recalling the day he first saw her. He places her items in a box labeled Liz and stores it alongside the boxes of his previous victims. It is revealed that the locket Liz picked up at the lake originally belonged to her, and she briefly experienced a past life in which she was a mother. Liz survives the fall, but Malcolm locks her in the basement so the creatures will kill her. Minutes later, the creatures begin to appear, including the woman with the plastic bag over her head. She removes the bag to reveal a face with multiple eyes, noses, and mouths. Instead of attacking Liz, the creatures embrace her because she resembles their mother, whose disembodied head they have preserved in a jar of honey. Liz begins laughing hysterically while also screaming in terror as they surround her. In the middle of the night, Malcolm wakes from a strange vision and realizes he is rapidly aging, and then, he is attacked by one of the creatures. The next morning, an elderly Malcolm finds himself hanging upside down from a tree. Liz, her eyes now completely black like the creatures, approaches him and forcefully feeds him some of the drugged cake. Malcolm begs to be freed and insists he truly loves her, but Liz coldly tells him he is lying before drowning him by plunging his head into a jar of honey and walking away. Okay guys, that's all the recap about Keeper from 2025. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.